Alright, I'm back with another tutorial video. In the last video, by the way, I have not gotten to review the comments yet, so if you left me some helpful pointers, corrections, or advice about the whole whitelisting, blacklisting pockets things, I haven't seen it yet, but rest assured I will get to whatever you might have had to say about that. I want to note something. I was about to drop all these items off, and I want to say, by the way, if you look in your inventory and it says 7 long strings and then 2 long strings and then 1 long string, or it says 28 nails and then 14 nails and then 6 nails, and you say, why are these repeating in my inventory? Why do I have 5 scrap metal, 4 scrap metal, and 1 scrap metal listed in my inventory? The reason is because it's distributed among your pockets. So one reason it's a good idea to have all of your items go just into the golf bag is it keeps your inventory a little cleaner, neater, and everything else, where you say, okay, it's all, in blocks of how many I have of a certain thing. So anyway, I'm dropping all these items off. Beam evacuation, pamphlets, cardboard rations, clean water, what else? That's about it. Okay, I'm going to drop those items there. Now remember, this is why I said, by the way, the right way to do this really is to haul things, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit / to open this menu. I'm going to hit A for all surrounding squares. I'm going to select the pavement directly beneath my feet. Watch out for that little panel switch. It can be confusing. I'm going to hit comma for all items. All right, everything went to the ground. I'm going to rinse and repeat that like that. There it is. Everything went to the ground. We can rinse and repeat. Oh, I can't put stuff on the stone half wall. I beg your pardon. In that case, I'm going to have to do it this way. All surrounding squares. This panel, I'll change it to be 7. By the way, it looks like there's some helpful directional information being displayed in the top right-hand corner there. It says you can't use 8, 5, or 2 because they're in red, and I've highlighted 7, so that's a direction on the number pad. I can drop stuff on the northwest pavement, so no eligible items were found to be moved. Oh, that's because I was on the wrong panel? We can figure this out together. Alright, I'm going to open my haul menu, enable auto haul, grab everything, including the jerry can. I'm going to move everything inside here. Now let's do some stuff that's really going to be fun. Let's stop hauling here. There we go. I want to begin putting things on these shelves. I can do it manually, of course. I can mentally decide what I want to put on the shelf, and then I can manually sort the stuff myself. Of course, nobody who plays Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead does it that way. Here's how we all do it. I think we all use the automatic auto-sorting thing. And I'm going to show you how to do that real easy. And we're going to tackle it in small bites, which is how it's going to make it so much easier for you to do. The key to learn here is capital Y. Capital Y is the zones manager. What do we want to do? We want to add a zone. I'm going to hit A. Okay? The zone I want to add. Don't read all this. It's too intimidating. The zone I want to add is the unsorted zone. It's right here. Loot unsorted. There's a handy tooltip here. Place to drop unsorted loot. You can use sort out loot. Zone action to sort the items inside. It can overlap with loot zones of different types. That's handy to know. Thank you very much, but I don't want to learn too much all at one time, so I'm just going to hit enter on loot unsorted. I can name this if I want to, and I'm actually going to do that. You don't have to do this, but I like to just go like this. Yeah, unsorted. Capital letters. Now, I've already kind of predetermined this by, looking at it and say, where do I want my unsorted zone to be? How big do I want it to be? I don't know. I think I'm just going to confine it to these 4 tiles right here. That makes sense to me. Alright. Now, we haven't saved this yet. What I did was I hit enter. Then I used the directional key to draw that square, and I hit enter again. That picked the size of my zone. And now we've got it over here in the zones manager that we have an unsorted zone. Okay. And what we need to do is save that. And we could just add a bunch of zones. Okay. It's going to get too complicated, too confusing. I'm going to hit the escape key. And I'm going to tell I want to save my changes. Okay. Now that zone has disappeared. But we know it's still here. Now if I want to check that information, I can hit capital Y. It's going to say, hey, your unsorted zone, it's flashing right now. That's where it is. It's like, okay, that's great. Well, how do I use that? Well, let's start deciding where we want to put some things. Let's say, for example, we want to keep all of our... I'll tell you the best way to do this, I think. If I hit the G key And I want to sort the things that are in my pickup menu. Right now they're sorted by location, which is not how I want them to be sorted. What I just hit was the semicolon, or it was the colon. I can never remember which one has the period at the top and the comma at the bottom. I think that is a semicolon. So anyway, it's that key. That has changed it from looking at things by location to looking at things by category. So I've got 3 categories of items here. Food, other, and spare parts. Ah, we have spare parts here, do we? We need to get anything that we want sorted out, though, into the unsorted zone. So I'm going to haul these items over here among all the other items. I'll stop hauling right there. Okay, so everything that we're trying to move into our crafting area is in the unsorted zone right now, which is these 4 squares. If I hit the G key and look at this square, I'm going to say, what have I got here? I've got food, books, other, spare parts, and clothing all in this square right here. So let's start with food. That's the first thing I see. So where are we going to put our food? Does it really matter? Probably not. I'm just going to put it right there, the tile right above my head. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to hit capital Y, and I'm going to add a food zone. Now, unfortunately, I think this is, like everything in Cataclysm, it might be, I'm saying it might be a little too detailed. We've got drink, and we've also got, should be perishable drink, yeah. And we've got perishable food, and we've also got food. All of those things fall under the category of food for the purposes of getting from the floor. This is the thing. But anyway, all right, let's select the food category. And I'm going to hit enter on the square I want to hold the food, and enter again to finalize my decision. And we've got food. I'm going to add another one. I'm going to hit A. Okay, we've got food there. Let's put drink there. Okay. I'm going to pick the very same square. I'm going to hit enter, enter. All right, it's there, and we've got it over there. Now that's food and drink. Now we need to add 2 more things. Like I said, I think this is a little too detailed, but that's okay. Perishable drink. All right, we're going to put there. I'm going to hit enter, enter. All right, let's add 1 more, and let's do perishable food. Okay, and we're going to put it right there. All right, we've done that. I'm going to hit escape, save my changes. Okay. Look, that was relatively painless. Now you may be asking yourself, how do I auto-sort my food and drink onto that shelf? And I'm going to tell you it's capital O. Capital O. Sort out my loot. The only thing you need to know about is static zones. We'll cover personal zones in a different video later. So I'm going to hit enter on sort out my loot static zones only. What do you know? Everything should have gone to that shelf. To verify that, I'm going to hit the G key. I'm going to look at that square that we were looking at before. And what do you know? There's no food listed here. Only books, other, spare parts, and clothing. I can look at this shelf by hitting G and looking over here. And there you go. All of our food and drink. And, you know, I don't even know what's perishable and imperishable here. But some of it is and some of it ain't. But anyway, it's all on the shelf. So that's great. When I look at my capital Y menu, see, we've got the unsorted zone flashing here. If I highlight using the arrow keys to scroll down, I can get food, drink, and perishable drink are all showing that same flashing zone. So if you lose, you know, where something is getting sorted to, you can find it again by hitting capital Y and just looking through your zones. But anyway, the way that I normally do this, so I don't forget anything, you know, and just doing it as I go, is to basically, I'm going to hit capital G. I'm going to look at this square again. I noticed that we've got like 1 book and 1 other and a bunch of spare parts and some clothing. And look at this one here. We got weapons, other, fuel, more spare parts and clothing. So it looks to me like I can sort a lot of this junk by getting the spare parts out of the way. So why don't we just arbitrarily hit capital Y. Let's add a zone. And let's look here. We should have a spare parts. There it is. I believe this, by the way, is in alphabetical order. And I hope it doesn't annoy you that I point that out. For some reason, I played this game for like 6 months without realizing that a lot of this stuff's in alphabetical order, and I would look and look and look, and I couldn't find what I was looking for, but it should be kind of obvious. M, O, P, S, T. It's in alphabetical order. So anyway, spare parts. I'm going to highlight spare parts. And for no reason at all, I'm just going to put spare parts right here. Enter, enter. Okay, we now have a spare part category. I'm going to hit escape and save changes. I'm going to hit capital O. Sort out my loot static zones only. And bam. Let's look over here. It's all spare parts. Let's look here. No spare parts. Let's look here. No spare parts. And there you go. Taking it one category at a time makes this really pretty easy. Let's go ahead and we've got books, other, and clothing, and weapons and fuel are the next bunch of categories. So, for no reason at all, let's do clothing. Okay, so we've got clothing. We'll put clothing on that shelf right there. And we know that we've got other, I believe it was. So here, let's do other. I know, I'm getting a little bit more ambitious. Let's put other right there. And let's do, what was the other thing that we had in that list? See, I've forgotten already, and this is why I do it one at a time. But anyway, all right, let's save our changes. Let's sort out our static zones again. All right. Things are looking cleaner. Okay, we've got books, weapons, and fuel are the last categories that we're going to need to sort out. So, let's add a books. Okay, we'll put, whoops, hit escape. I didn't want to put books there. Let's add books. Okay, right here. And then we had a weapons category, right? So let's do, in alphabetical order, folks. We'll do weapons right there. Okay, save my changes. Sort out my loot. Great, what are we missing? Fuel, all right. Capital Y, A to add. Let's add a fuel spot. There's fuel. We'll just put fuel right here. Escape. Save my changes. Capital O. Sort out my loot. Fuel automatically went over there. Now, you may remember, what do we have over here? Looks like we've got other and clothing items that came off of these shelves to begin with. Let's just haul them over to the unsorted zone. Stop hauling right there. Hit capital O. Enter. And what do you know? Everything got automatically sorted out into its appropriate categories. We've got enough categories to handle everything we've looted so far. Wasn't that easy? That was painless. Now these things can be edited. You can add them. You can move them around. And remember, it doesn't matter where they go. Because from where I sit, right here, I have access to all crafting ingredients and tools from right where I sit. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do before we wrap the episode up, I'm going to pull these chairs out of the way because I remembered something that I definitely wanted to do. Capital G to grab. I grabbed the counter. I'm going to move a couple more counters in here. Okay. This is not, strictly speaking, necessary at all. It's just how I do things, and that's part of the fun of the game. Doing things your way. There. Alright, I added that counter space for one reason. I want to actually put like my crafting manuals and stuff on the tables, and I want to put my tools on the tables. So let's say I'm going to hit capital D to drop in this direction. And I'm going to drop my toolbox over there. There we go. Okay, I don't have any crafting manuals yet. But the reason that I like to do that, I've got all my crafting tools are sitting right there. And if I want to look over here, I hit G and look over here. I know what crafting tools I have. I can examine the toolbox itself and see what tool qualities it contains. So we've got butchering, cutting, fine cutting, hammering, fine hammering, siphoning, jump starting, prying, nail prying, metal sawing, wood sawing, screwdriving. If I see a crafting recipe that calls for a tool quality I don't have, I know what I can always do is grab that toolbox and insert the appropriate tool and then drop it back on my crafting bench. Or if I'm going to go work on a car, I just pick up my toolbox from the crafting bench and walk to the car that I want to work on, or throw it in the car's trunk or whatever. And this keeps my tools kind of hermetically sealed from the rest of the spare parts, other food, and blah, blah, blah. So we covered that already. Thanks for joining me for this episode. I hope you now know how to add automatic sorting zones and an unsorted zone.